Hi everybody, how you doing? I'm Andrew Finlay. I'm a nutritional therapist here at Wildview Retreat. And for those of you who've been following my little videos on nutrition, you'll have seen that I've done my first one on carbohydrates, the important function of carbohydrates and which ones are the right ones to eat. And you'll have seen that I've done another one on fats and the essential fats that we should be eating or shouldn't be eating. And finally, I'm now doing protein. And sorry, it's taken me a few weeks to get my act together, but finally I'm doing protein now. So it's protein, guys. If you're not getting enough protein, you are going to be seriously in trouble. And I'm finding that a lot of people, in their drive to be healthy or try to be healthy and correct some of the damages that they may have done in the past, people are moving towards a mainly plant-based diet, which is amazing to some degree because you're going to be getting more fiber in, you're going to be getting more nutrients in and micronutrients, and generally feeling a lot better than having a heavy animal protein diet, which is, saturated fat, and a lot of it isn't particularly good for you. The issue being, though, that a lot of people are actually in moving away from animal protein and moving only to plant-based protein. They are, well, what should I say, becoming vegetarian or vegan. They don't understand, or you don't understand the importance of ensuring that you're moving on to plant-based proteins and not just eliminating that key macronutrient altogether. It's absolutely critical that you do that. Now, of course, people say we can get all of our essential proteins from plants, which is true, but you have to be really savvy about it and intelligent and make sure you're eating a lot of different types of plant-based proteins in order to get the same range of proteins that you would get from a single dose of, let's say, chicken or beef or something. So it's really, really important that if you are moving over to being a vegetarian or vegan, that you're really, really savvy about it. But before I start talking about them and what some of them are, I first just want to mention some of the functions. It's so important that you eat the right amount of protein, and typically we would be wanting to eat about 1 gram per kilo of body weight per day, and maybe add on a little bit if you're doing a bit more exercise. So for me, I'm about 73, 74 kilos. So should be eating about, I don't know, 80, 90 grams of protein a day. And do you know in what form the protein is coming in? Because the thing is if you're not eating the right amount of protein, you begin to become pretty sick pretty quickly. And so what functions are they? Well, one of the main things that we don't realize is that protein is critically important for our immune system. Without a good and decent amount of protein, you won't have the amino acids in your system to be able to metabolize and create immunoglobulins and antibodies. So a lot of people are finding that they might be getting sick, or they might be more at risk of getting viruses. And they're thinking, I just need more vitamin C or more vitamin D. Well, absolutely, yes, but they're also potentially missing out on key macronutrients, in particular protein. So remember, folks, protein is key for the immune system, and you need to be eating plenty of it each day. Well, a certain amount that you need. Another critically important function of protein is it creates our enzymes. Why is that important? Enzymes are so what? Well, without the enzymes, we wouldn't be able to create any of these chemical reactions in the body that allow us to perform different functions. And we would basically be slowing our engine right down and behaving suboptimally and performing suboptimally. So if you're feeling a little bit lackluster and struggling to perform on an optimal level, it could be due to the fact that you are protein deficient and not getting enough protein in. Thirdly, critically important for producing our hormones. And as we all know, our hormones basically make up our behavior and personality. And sometimes we can go a bit out of whack and feel a bit crazy, like high stress or whatever it may be. So without a decent amount of protein, you're not going to be able to make your hormones, which is so important. What are our hormones? Well, it's estrogen, it's cortisol, it's serotonin, it's dopamine, it's all of these critically important hormones, which I'm sure you're aware of what they do. Another key aspect of protein is it allows for transportation of substances in the blood. So albumin and other important key indicators for liver functions. So protein allows for things to be transported around the body. It's also, as you're probably aware, involved in muscle generation, muscle growth. So that's one of the key things people think protein's for. It's just for muscles. But it's also for other tissue formation like skin, ligaments, tendons, and all that sort of stuff. So you must remember protein is critically important, and if you're not getting enough of it, you're going to start to become deficient and get pretty ill pretty quickly. So it's really, really important. Now, just some quick examples here. Now, I've moved away from cheap, crappy animal-based protein the last 4 or 5 years, and I get mainly, I would say 80% of my protein comes from plants. Now, of course, I still do have a nice piece of organic chicken every now and again. And so obviously some oily fish like salmon and mackerel. Those are my key sources of animal-based protein alongside eggs. Eggs are a great source, as long as you're not having them every day if you're at risk of cardiovascular illness because of the saturated fat content. But if you've got no issue with cardiovascular illness and hypertension, then yes, have eggs every day of the week if you like, because they're a great source of choline as well, another important nutrient. So chicken, oily fish like salmon, because that's also an amazing essential fatty acid, and eggs. And the other ones that I sometimes tend to go towards is a bit of cheese every now and again, but not too often again, because I don't want to risk my saturated fat increasing. But basically, and also, yeah, a little bit of dairy. I don't have too much, but I tend to have a little bit of kefir every now and again. And this one, you may, the eagle-eyed of you may actually see this is actually from Lidl, cheapest chips. But I found it's one of the best ones in the supermarket. And you can tell how good they are, by the way, by how fizzy and disgusting it is. The more fizzy it is, it's the better for you. So there's some more expensive ones. I find they're just too much like yogurt and really do much. Anyway, moving on to the main subject here. The key plant-based proteins that I'd be looking at to add to your meals on a daily basis. So get rid of the pastas, which is just a refined carb, the white rice is the white potato, chickpeas, quinoa, beans, black beans, lentils. This is in a tin form here in Portugal, but you get all different types of green and red lentils. Those are really, really important proteins. And if you can get a diverse range of those in, that'd be really good, along with brown rice. And then also, I like a bit of tofu. For me, it has to be organic and bio and non-GMO in order for it to be healthy. I like using that. It's taken me about 5 years to work out how to do it properly, but Google it, you'll work out how. And then the key one here really is nuts and seeds. I don't have all my nuts and seeds here, but I have Kilner jars full of walnuts, cashew nuts, almonds, Brazil nuts, and then I have all my seeds as well. So chia seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, and almond butter. And the way I get this in is I just put a couple of tablespoons into my smoothie every day, and therefore it's done. Tick the box, and then I've got my protein in. So remember, protein is critically important, not just for your muscles. It's important for your immune system. It's for hormone health. It's important for so many important things. And you need to make sure you're getting the right range of plant-based proteins in, because more often than not, we're moving away from meat, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but you can accidentally become protein deficient if you don't know what your decent plant-based proteins are. Okay, folks, hopefully that was interesting. If you liked it, please like, share if it was of interest, comment, ask me any questions, and look forward to the next soundbite in the next few weeks. All right, cheers.